parcel, but you're gonna see it for the better part of the summer. Additional work. So a lot of times we get questions, especially during the job, hey, you're taking this tree out, this one's dead, it's on my property, can you guys just pull that one out too? We can't do that. We can't spend the township or road commission funds on private property for improvements that aren't needed for the project. However, if you want to say pave your driveway, hey, you're gonna pay, and one thing I didn't note earlier, I should have, if you have a gravel driveway now, we're gonna pave the apron of that driveway, meaning the area between the curb and gutter that we're putting in and the existing sidewalk, okay? We do that because we don't wanna pull all that gravel on the roadway, pulling in and out, or somebody else earlier mentioned snow blowing, gravel. We wanna try to keep that off the road for maintenance concerns, safety concerns. So we do pave those areas as part of the project. That's not an expense that the homeowners have to worry about. So that's going back in, it's a little different. If you have an asphalt driveway now, we're gonna put back in an asphalt apron. Basically what we tear out, we're putting back in. So if you know that, and say you've got a short driveway and you wanna go ahead and pave the rest of your driveway, well, we can provide you the name and number of the people that are doing the work, and you can work out an arrangement with them. If they're out there paving the driveway, it's probably gonna be your best chance to finish the work rather than have some other contractor have to come in, like Paul referenced earlier, kind of a remobilization charge, so to speak. So that's been done, that's fairly common. Again, obviously you don't have to do that, but if you do have inquiries about that, we can try to provide that information for you. Actually, how we receive updates on construction. So there will be updates, especially on RCKC website. They have an RCKC Connect button. Actually, you want to flip to the next one? Okay. So this is the RCKC webpage. So in the upper right-hand corner, they have this couple double arrows with like roads up there. That's the RCKC Connect. Jim over here from the Road Commission has business cards that talks about how to sign up for that. That's kind of a notification system, so you kind of, I think you make a user login, you log in, sign up for a specific job, and it will send you updates. The Road Commission asks us frequently, sometimes daily, on what's going on, so we can provide updates, so folks will be notified that way. If you have something that comes up during the job, hey, you guys said we'd handle all the storm water, now I've got a big pond in my yard, I never had it before. A couple ways to deal with that. Service request button. That specifically will get routed to Jim and his team, and they will notify us or whoever needs to respond to that particular issue. You can always contact our site representative as well. His name is Aaron Curtis. It'll come up here in just a minute. Cell phone number will be out there every day. There'll be another gentleman, Jarrett, who will be on site as well, probably half the time. So when you have things that pop up, hey, this happened, or what are you going to do here? Those guys are going to be the boots on the ground, the people that can address your questions the soonest. But you can always hit that service request button as well if you prefer to handle it via internet, or you think about something, you're at work and you want to shoot us something. That's the best way to do that. And here's the contact information. So we have a couple of things here. Obviously, the township is going through the sewer project. If you have questions about the sewer connection, how to pay for it, we had some questions about last time. I want to get signed up right now. How do I go about doing that? And we kind of talked about the schedule and whatnot. If we have those kind of questions, contact the township. Jeff threw his name and contact information up here. This is the office number here. And then our firm, Whiteman, our inspector is Aaron Curtis, and that's his cell phone number. Can everybody read that okay? Again, this is available on the township's website, this presentation. We also have a couple of paper copies, just a couple. So come see me afterwards, we can write it down or whatever, you get a slip of paper so you have it. That'll be your best way to deal with things. Again, sewer related, specific, anything construction related on site, any special request, Aaron would be a great resource. The RCKC Connect is also a great tool. Okay, that's the last one, right? All right, so before we go into general questions and answers, okay to bring Terry up to talk about?
Please do.
Okay.
I have to give you guys some copies. I'm sorry, didn't forget you. Thank you. Terry Scheck, and I work for Rural Development. And what Rural Development is we're a financing agency for low to very low income families. In fact, we not only do that, but we also help with water projects. So I did not know if you guys have assistance from us for your project at all?
We did not, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so because we do quite a lot, we can go into a community and we can make a community based on all the loan programs we have available. We have them for water, we have them for sewers, we have them for medical, we have them for libraries, fire stations. The program that you would be interested, that's gonna affect you, would be the housing program. So I gave you 2 booklets or pamphlets. One's called the 504 repair program, and the other one's the 502. I'm gonna try and make this as brief as possible and as simple as possible because I can get consumed with all the details. But if you go to the middle page, in the pamphlet, the green one, it gives you the eligibility requirements for repairs. And first of all, you would have to own your home, and that's something I did not mention on the last one, but I'm assuming everybody owns their home. And you have to be a U.S. citizen, but the 2 criteria that we look at, because we have 2 different programs for the 504 repair, we have a grant program, and that's for somebody who's 62 or over and income eligible. And what that means is they have to be within 30% of the median income to be grant eligible. So the income, and we had a meeting today in my office and we tried to figure out where we could cut off where most people are eligible, and that would be under $1,000. If you're getting Social Security and it's under 1,000. We actually calculated a little bit more, but we're just trying to do a baseline right now. And then we have a loan program. And the loan program, that is a program where you're charged 1% for 20 years. And we had just changed, we just had an executive order this week where we can increase our grant amount. The grant amount used to be $7,500, now we can go to $10,000. And the loan amount used to be $20,000, and now we can go to $40,000, and we can lend to $40,000. At one time, we required a mortgage over $7,500. Now we can go up to $25,000 without requiring title work and mortgage. So we're trying to ease up on our requirements so more people are eligible for the program. The difference between the 2 programs, and this is very important for you, is the income. So if you go to this page right here, it would be the last one. And Kalamazoo County, the income limit for very low income is $34,400. So a family unit, whether there's 1 or more 2 people, they can't exceed $34,400. If they exceed that and they're still under the 1 to 4, then we go to a 502 program. And the difference between the 502 program, and this is the golden brochure, is that you're going to be paying a higher interest rate. It's going to be 3.5%. So you go from 1% to 3.5% if your income exceeds the very low. And for Kalamazoo County, you can go up to $55,050. You can't exceed that. So that, I know with my experience working with a lot of families, many would fit within these program guidelines. I want to make sure I have everything. So we have the 2 most important criteria for either program when it comes to loans going to be income and credit. We do look at credit when we're looking at eligibility. We have a score of 620 for the repair program. Anything that exceeds 620, then as far as credit goes, you're going to be automatically eligible with credit. If it's under 620, then I manually underwrite, and what that means is I make sure that there are items that weren't due to, or if you have poor credit, then were they due to circumstances beyond your control? If they were due to circumstances beyond your control, then it's something I can overlook. Health reasons, or you had a job quit. I gotta go back to the 504 because it gets very confusing. Again, when we're looking at a grant program, it's for 62 or older who are income eligible. We do not look at credit if it's just strictly a grant. If we're looking at the 504 program for housing, then it would be 1% and over 20 years, but we would be looking at your credit. And like I said, I can be a little bit more liberal with the credit because it doesn't have to meet the credit for a 502.
Can you just clarify those programs? We're talking about sewer costs right now, but those cover other things as well, correct?
Yes, our program, we can cover a lot of things. In fact, I was out today in Cooper Township and I'm looking at putting a roof on an individual's home. So we can make loans for roof repair, electrical repair, handicap ramps, anything that's decent, safe, and sanitary. So when we look at the grant program, it has to be decent, safe, and sanitary. Water is considered decent, safe, and sanitary, so we can do water. For the loan program, we can do a little bit more for the 504 program because it is a loan, so we can make improvements to your dwelling. For example, if you need new carpet, we can put a carpet in. If you need siding, we can put siding on your dwelling. So again, the requirements are a little bit different. The grant is more restrictive because again, that's for decent, safe, and sanitary. And sewer is definitely something that is decent, safe, and sanitary and that we would finance. The amount of loans, we can also do a loan grant combination. If you're falling within a category where you're close to a grant, but you're not gonna get a full grant, we can do loan grant. And when I'm looking at a loan grant combination, 7,500 used to be our loan limit, so that payment at 1% was about $35. It's generally $5 per thousand, or excuse me, $5 per thousand. So, depending on the loan amount, you just times it by 5, and that's what your payment will be. The beauty of our programs are there are no processing fees. What I do is I go out to the applicant individually, and I work out the applications with you. And then I'll request verification because we do have to verify your income, we have to verify your assets. We have to make sure that you don't have assets that you have available that you can delve into. And for our program, 15,000 is for the asset limit. That's for people who are individuals who are adults until 62. I know with rural development, we're looking at 18 because at 18, we don't consider somebody an adult. We don't even put them on our eligibility requirements anymore as far as children. And then for seniors, 62 or over, the asset limit is 20,000. So if you have 20,000 or less, we will not make you delve into your assets.
So if somebody had a roof they knew they needed to be, that was bad, they needed to replace the roof, they also thought about connecting the sanitary. Instead of going through 2 applications, for instance, they could talk to you about doing them both on the one.
Yes, they could. And again, it would be income and credit eligibility. We have a new program that figures out whether a certain portion is going to be a grant or a loan. And like I said, if it's 30% adjusted or between median income, then it would be a grant and grant. I have made loans, but people would have to be able to afford the loans. But it's not very expensive. It's very inexpensive. It's only, like I said, $5 per thousand. And a lot of people can afford that. Thank you.
I think at this point, if there's any questions of the general audience right now, please raise your hand, give your name and address. Yes?
Yes, I am going to have a roof put on,
Okay, what is your name and address, please?
Jean Brand,
Okay?
5227 North Riverview.
Okay.
I've been trying to get this roof put on since last year, but with all the rain,
I
impossible.
think we spoke, yes.
Yes, so, about getting a dumpster in and out, what's that gonna, is that gonna be too hard to do?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think we can accommodate that. We'll just have to know, again, be in contact as far as your schedule, when they're gonna be there, when they're gonna deliver, when it's gonna be done, and, you know, we've gotta be able to get emergency vehicles in and out, which includes fire trucks. So, we can get big vehicles, big equipment through there, maybe not on a moment's notice, but certainly in advance to kind of tell you, maybe they can just come in from one direction or the other. That likely will be the issue. So yeah, I think we can do that. Can I get your address again, please?
5227.
Okay, and your name?
Jean, Fran.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sally Borton at 5031 Riverview Drive. My house is the first house on the west side on Riverview, north on Riverview, first house. Kitty corner is the gas station. Right now, the biggest problem I have is that the sidewalk and the road are about the same distance, height. When they put this new construction in, are they going to have it higher? Because what's happening now, there is a, well, I call it a cistern, but the water doesn't go to it. And I'm getting the water from across the street, down the hill, across the street, it's all paved, and it all comes into my driveway just like a river. And I have they took out about a third of just dirt that accumulated from the water. I can't deal with this with the new construction. It's gotta be changed.
And we are.
It's gotta be changed. I can't have all that water funneling into my property.
Yeah.
They are gonna take that great big tree down.
I'll have to look. I don't know about
That tree in front of my house
Yeah.
is gonna be
Okay.
eliminated.
Yeah. So, to speak about that drainage issue, and there's a few others on the job, there is obviously ongoing issues. The road commission maintains all their service requests, and there was a ton of them in that general vicinity about the same story. Water accumulating, water not getting to the drainage basins, water going down the driveway, flooding basements, etc.
Well, it's also going down the sidewalk is horrid.
Yeah, so we'll have to look at each individual property. If you have questions about the road grade in general is lowering the center
I
line
was
of the
gonna say,
grade.
it's gotta
We
be
have
lower
to,
than what the sidewalks are,
Well,
because
we have to
otherwise it's just
accommodate.
gonna go right over.
yeah, we have to accommodate that curb head height to a degree. There are properties, especially on the west side, that are lower than the road. We can't do anything about that, and we're not gonna
I got
be able
one.
to
Yes,
lower it that much. However, with the curb and gutter, we're containing the road runoff that right now drains to the properties largely, again, on the west side. There are instances that we heard about earlier, we knew about previously, the water drains to the east, fills up structures, goes under the road,
Yeah.
spills out on the west side, right? People know
Not
that
just
that
that,
happens.
but the road itself is
Yeah.
tilted.
So,
towards-
with our storm sewer design, we have 2 storm sewer outlets, one at G I mentioned, and one down by the school I mentioned. About 2/3 of it or so comes south to G, the other, which the road actually drains a little bit the other way, but we're trying to bring as much of it to G Avenue as we can. The rest goes down Brackett. The goal is, we don't have any of that road runoff going beyond the curb and gutter. Whatever falls behind the curb, on the sidewalk, on your driveway, and to your house, we can't do anything about that. But the problem exists with all the road runoff that now
Yeah,
goes to
it is
these
a
private
runoff.
individuals.
It's pretty severe with all the water we've had.
Yeah, so a lot of those structures, I can't say every single one, but I think most of the structures that exist today will be removed, and there'll be new ones placed, and there'll be a solid storm sewer system all the way through the job.
Because I know we've raised our property, but they also raised the road, so.
I think in that area, we actually are lowering the road. In fact, we're almost to the point where we can barely get our grades we want within the right of way. Because it's widened there, because we've got the 3 lanes and the shoulder, we don't have as much room to work in the right of way at your property as we do
Yeah,
1,000 feet
well, the
north.
tree's in the way.
Yeah, so we can look at that afterwards, we can get into some of those details, but I think your spot was one for sure that went down, 6 or 8 inches, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir. That. You, yes.
Me? Okay, Dwayne Enos, 5100 North Riverview. I live just down the street from this lady. She is right, she has a big X on her tree and a big black dot above it. I've got two things. One, there's a big oak tree straight across the street from her. That's in the grass area between the sidewalk and the road. The sidewalk is heaved up about that high, all the way around that one side. And half the branches on the bottom of that tree are dead, waiting for somebody to get hit by them, walking through there. So I was wondering if that was gonna be taken care of or taken out of there possibly, or just trimmed up.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look. I don't know specifically. There aren't a tremendous amount of trees coming out on the job, half a dozen or something. I'd have to look at the plans to know for sure. If it's within our construction influence, if it is impacted by the road construction, they have to come out. That's typical.
I'm sure the roots are, because this thing is gigantic.
Yeah. As far as the heaving, if for some reason that tree or others that cause the heaving, the township mentioned earlier, if we have a pretty big separation in the sidewalk, a few inches, that kind of thing, they are going to replace some sidewalks so we don't have the tripping hazard. They'd love to be able to go through and put all new sidewalks in. The budget doesn't account for that, but they will replace those areas that's more of a trip hazard, in addition to whatever's impacted by the sewer laterals.
I got one more question. When I got the information on the tree, they said that it was my responsibility to take care of the stump. Now, how's that gonna work out with the sewer and all the stuff?
No, we'll take care of the stump.
Good.
And some of you may have received a form the road commission has. We have a right-of-way agent that worked with us, Gail Morton, with another firm, and she sent out the standard form. That form is sometimes more generalized in nature. When the road commission's not working on a project or something, a tree just has to come out, they might flush cut it and leave the stump. In this case, if we're taking a tree out, the stump's coming with it.
And in this area, the storm sewer is gonna pass right under where that tree
Yeah,
is, so.
It's gotta come out either way, so. Yeah. The only thing you'll have to deal with is if you check the box and said leave the trunk wood or whatever, that will get set on your property, and that's gonna be your responsibility. If you don't want it, make sure you check that box so we take all it out of there for you.
Did you do that? I
I'm
think
not
I
sure who was
did,
first
but
there.
I'm not sure.
We'll make sure.
Yeah. And the other question I had, I've got two lots. I'm on Valley 9, and I also have Valley 10, which is a double lot. So I'm gonna have 165 feet of frontage. On Valley 10, that was the original house from many moons ago, where they owned a 500-acre cornfield, which all these houses are sitting on. There used to be a driveway at the north end of that, alongside the telephone pole. There's still gravel in my yard, but it's covered up with grass. Do I still have access to that? Because I have a gate there, I have stockade fencing, and I put a 16-foot gate in there to drive in, to get my trailer out.
Jim, I don't know if that's something the road commission can weigh in on as far as access points. It sounds like we have is it two separate lots?
It's two separate lots, it's
Okay.
not combined.
But one is built on, the other is not?
Right.
Okay, so he has more or less two driveways total?
Well, I got one driveway, and the other one, right now I'm just driving through the grass to get into my backyard on the other lot. Cause I've got a utility trailer back there, and I just, pull the brush and everything out the gate for cleanup and stuff like that, so.
I would think that we would need to provide an access per lot, but usually it's limited to one access per lot in a situation like that. Is that correct, Jim?
Just the developed ones? So the double lot won't have an access point?
We can look into it. I don't have that material in front of me today.
I can make a area and show them where it's at, so.
Sure.
I wanna take his information down and make sure.
Yeah. And the address was 5100?
5100, and that's my house, and lot 9, lot 10 is right next door to it to the north. So, and there's no address on it.
Yeah. So this is important because we have a curb gutter. Obviously, if we go through the full curb head, you don't have access at that point, so we'll want to work
And
this
I
out
gotta
ahead of
jump
time.
the curb to get that into the back.
Right, exactly. All right, thank you.
This young lady in the sandwich,
So if we do,
name and address, please.
I'm sorry,
No
Mary,
worries.
Ovenkamp, 505081 North Riverview. If we do hook up to the sewer, which I can't afford, so I don't know how that's gonna work. My house is really old. What happens if you damage it by putting in whatever you have to do to hook up to the sewer?
Well, so you're saying if you happen to connect to the sewer, we have to do work outside the right of way? Or are you saying as part of this road project that we're talking about this evening?
Sure, let's say somehow by miracle, I come up with the money. And I have you put the sewer in, and the house is super old. What happens if it's damaged?
The pipes flow you're talking about, or some electrical problem or something?
Yeah, or leakage, or I don't know, what happens if there's.
Anything contributed to the hookup of the
Yes.
sewer, is which I think you're getting at. John,
Yes.
is that anything you could, this is John from
Yeah, this is
Gully.
a good time for the point, for the reason in the dollar figures that a permit is being pulled. Gull Lake Sewer and Water Authority is the acting agent for Cooper Township to administer, maintain, and operate the sanitary sewer system. You would have a licensed contractor who is insured install the private side, and we are the ones that will verify if that contractor does have appropriate liability insurance before he sets foot on your property to do the work. Earlier this afternoon, we had the question, can I do it myself? And the answer is no, you can't, because this is not a big government type of statement. The fact of the matter is if you damaged a fiber or a gas line in the ground, you better just check off retirement. Because the cost for that, you not insured, is gonna put you working until you go to the grave. That's the reality of it. Our obligation to you is to ensure that the contractor that you hired does a good job, makes an appropriate connection, doesn't have impact, and that's what that permit allows from the administrative aspect of the work that we're doing.
Just to comment, I would suppose though, I think I know where you're coming from, is that you will have a contractor that you'll be working with, that's on John's list, to give you a price of connecting from into your house. If he runs into problems that are not up to what he needs, there could be additional costs, right, John?
There are,
Yes.
and so I think raising the question now of where is the value in collaboratively and collectively getting together of who has the desire and intent to connect at the beginning when the costs are the lowest, allows us to go to, rural development is gonna need quotes and bids from contractors. It's gonna allow us to collaboratively go to contractors and say, we have this many people interested. These many people are qualified for grant money or for low interest loans. And so we're looking to mitigate that mobilization cost, if you will, that service call to have somebody come out and provide a true estimate, and then we build a per parcel cost that hopefully we see a return on that investment of multiple connections done in the same time frame, same month window, depending on how many are interested, versus you each individually going out there and playing the system and guessing which three to call to get estimates. I don't know why we do three estimates. It's really weird. I mean, I think it's a psychological thing. But to look for what is the lower cost for us to install. Did I raise a question?
Michelle Emig, 5273 North Riverview. We bought this house about 3 or 4 years ago. My son actually bought it. I don't understand. I work for the city of Kalamazoo. I know a lot about water and sewer authority. We have city water, and now we're gonna have Gull Lake Water and Sewer Authority, so we'll have 2 different bills. We'll have a city
And so your sewer rates, what are they based on, I guess, cause they're a lot higher than what the city charges. And I don't understand if we have the city, this kind of question maybe is to you, Jeff, is that the city has taken over our water system. We are gonna have water pipes replaced in Parchment if you have a lead service, and that's gonna be done by the city.
There are no lead services in Cooper, but yes, in Parchment, you're right.
If there is, that'll be done by the city. And so why do we have the middleman for the sewer, I guess is my question, is why don't we go directly to the city since we will be treating the water at the plant?
Well, that question probably is something that I can sit down with you and talk about, but we have been contracted with Gull Lake Sewer and Water since the Collingwood G Avenue Sewer District. That's a contract that we have in place at this time. I'm just saying what may happen in the future, things could change, but right now, that's our operational, way of operation, I guess, at this point, so.
Okay.
But I will say this in response to your question, James Baker in the city with all the contamination issues has been just tremendous to work for, and we're building a great relationship with them, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm hopeful that that's probably, that could happen, because the citizens will get better rates,
Gotcha.
if you're paying water and wastewater. And two, where did we come up with this $8,410 connection, or, I mean, we talked about, you know, the township is paying to put the sewer in, and I understand you know, nothing is free.
Mhm.
We pay taxes on our homes so that we can, you know, afford these luxuries. But, I just was kinda curious on how they came up with the $8,400 per connection.
So there. There we go. So I showed you before the total construction cost for the sanitary sewer. There are about 95 or so connections in this area, and it's, I can't say how many feet long it is, but there's a certain number of feet of road. We established a $45 per front foot cost, came up with that total amount that would pay for it, and simply subtracted that from the total cost of the project and divided that among the number of connections. So it's just purely tied to the construction cost. I hope that my explanation of the algebra made sense, but it's based on the construction cost alone.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're saying we could do this, it has to be done within 10 years?
Correct.
So you can make us do this eventually, in 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
You'll be forced to.
Well, let me just clarify, once the sewer is run in front of your house, if your septic system fails, the county health department will not allow you to put another septic system in. So there are two, you know, we're giving you a 10-year window, but if you fail before that 10-year window, you will be required by the county to hook up to the sewer system.
And I really suggest that you talk with Terry about rural development. I think there are some very affordable ways that you may, or I'm not sure what your qualifications would be, but it would definitely pay for any of you in here tonight and any of your neighbors that weren't able to make the meeting to talk with her, sit down. She'll be happy to sit down and check out if you qualify or not. But one of the things we looked at is we didn't want to force somebody to hook up within 3 years, especially if they had a new system. We wanted to have people have ample time to plan for this. If your septic system fails now, you've got to find the money now or have the house condemned until it's fixed to be able to live in your home. And whether that's going to the credit union, borrowing from family, what have you, you got to have it now. We wanted to have a financing plan that the township could bear some cost on to make the brunt of the cost of much easier. And with rural development here and some of the new qualifications that have just come out in the last week are making things qualify a bit easier than what they used to, is huge. And we're just trying to make it easier. It's a system that makes sense to put in the ground now when the pavement's gone. they're digging a hole already for the storm sewer, and we're fortunate enough to have that money in our water and sewer fund that about taps us out, but township needs to get paid back on that in a certain period of time. If we were to have a 3 or 5 year window connection, that would be harder on you, but it would be much quicker to replenish that, so we may be able to do another project. I mean, you have a road right behind you that is not getting sewer, and that's the only one in your area that doesn't. And so it might be 10 years before we can recoup those funds to where we can do that again for those people, so.
I'm just saying, I just moved in, it hasn't even been a year, and I'm just, what can I say? Taxes went up, then I'm not sure if I should still drink the water, I'm still not drinking the water, I'm still buying bottled water. I just don't.
Same here.
I just moved in, and all of this stuff is just,
Understand. Anyone else? Gentleman in the back is first, then I'll get you.
Robert Caffrey, 5261 Summerfield Street. For the city sewer hookup, does that trickle down, the option trickle down to us in that neighborhood?
Not at this time, we just have the money to run the pipe in Riverview.
Okay, that's what, I've been hearing many things, so that's why
Oh,
I'm here
sure.
to confirm that we were affected.
This is simply Riverview Drive
Okay.
from G to Brackett, and
Excellent.
then Brackett to Keys.
Simple enough, thank you.
Yep. Sir, you in the stricture?
Yes, sir. My name's Lauren Penny, live 5231 North Riverview Drive. We're on the west side of the road. Actually, the existing storm drain, we've had water shoot up probably 8 or 10 feet, you know, and it's gone down in our basement and runs down in the backyard. Luckily, we have a drain that goes to the backyard. But so I think we've all seen in the news at different times where people's sanitary sewer backs up into their basement. Are there steps or measures that would keep that from happening?
The sanitary sewer is not connected to the storm system, so.
No, I'm not talking about the storm system, just on the news in different communities, people's had sewer in their basement that's backed up. We're on the lower end of that.
There's a fair amount of a fall, I will say a fair amount of elevation change between the start of the sewer where we're connecting and also beyond that. So I guess it's never impossible for a sewer backup to happen, whether it occurred because of a problem on the public side or whether there was a blockage in the private side of your line that resulted in a backup. But there is one pump station that all the sewer eventually finds its way to. A failure at a pump station is sometimes one of the reasons that a backup might happen for a municipal sewer system. That's pretty far away from this area, and it's never happened with this system, as far as I know. So I would say that
Is there such a thing that you could put a backflow preventer in your line so that the sewer can't back up into your, is that a possibility?
John, you mind taking that?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, you can put a backflow device in your lead. The pros stops anything that backs up in the street from coming your direction back into the house.